There's nothing I love more than grinding away at monotonous battle sequences to pick up marginally better equipment so I can then grind away at more and more monotonous battle sequences. If you haven't picked up on my sarcasm, I'll put it more plainly. Grinding is and will forever be the nemesis of busy gamers, and unfortunately, Outriders seems to give off way too grindy of a vibe for me. There's some good in there, but find out why I think you should absolutely steer clear of this game in my busy gamer review of Outriders. Welcome back to No Time Gamer. Subscribe to make sure your gaming sessions are time well spent. I played through the whole demo of Outriders the day it was released, and except for a few developmental bugs, I was impressed. The gameplay was fun, and it seemed to have little glimpses of time-saving elements that promised to be friendly to us folks with little time on our hands. However, once I got past the honeymoon phase and dove into the full game, I quickly realized that not everything that glitters is gold. In fact, most of the things that glittered from the Outriders demo turned out to be a dull brownish substance. I don't think it's the game's fault itself, but I was hoping that I could finally have found a game in this genre that would be worthwhile to play in short bursts every now and then. Boy, was I wrong. Probably the only saving grace I will mention here is that if you played the demo to completion, your progress was actually saved when you started the full game, so you didn't have to play through that painfully long opening hour of the campaign again, unless you wanted to. Since I played the demo on my old Xbox One, that was an extremely welcome nugget, because the load times for this game are maybe some of the longest that I've ever experienced on last gen, and the intro of the game is absolutely peppered with cutscenes, two essential ingredients for wasted gaming sessions. It's worth mentioning that load times are significantly better on next-gen consoles, but still not great, and there are still cutscenes aplenty through the campaign, so if you enjoy putting down your controller while you wait for your game to load, or watching cutscenes filled with cliché attempts at humor and glitchy graphics, this might just be the game for you. On to the gameplay experience. I'll preface this by saying that I'm not the world's biggest fan of third-person shooters outside of the Gears franchise, so take what I say with a grain of salt here, as I'm trying not to be too biased. I really didn't find a lot of redeeming qualities about the gameplay, specifically when I was playing solo. The cover system is okay, and there are generally enough places to take cover during a battle, but in many of the sequences, I found myself so overrun by enemies that I was barely using cover anyway. I was running around frantically trying to outlast the cooldowns of my special abilities and not waste all my ammo. The early weapons are terribly difficult to be accurate with, which may be a side effect of my experience with shooters that's way more heavily focused on first-person action. Regardless, I don't mind taking on a stressful fight every now and again, but I felt tense the whole time I was playing this game, and that's not fun. Outriders offers a difficulty system of sorts in its world tier system. The further you advance through the campaign, the higher difficulty you can play. When you play higher tiers, you are of course rewarded by better drops in battle, so you can power up your character faster. However, I found that I could almost never survive a battle on the highest available world tier. In fact, I repeated the first mission after the demo several times until I finally got fed up enough to lower the tier. Only then was I able to barely make it through missions. I'd probably even lower the tier again if I didn't have my pride. And that's what made me start to hate this game so much. I never start a game on the hardest difficulty, especially if it's a brand new title in a franchise that I'm not familiar with. And Outriders doesn't necessarily force you into playing on the most difficult setting, but it's obviously more advantageous to you if you can do it. And while I can't say that's unfair, I hate it. It's painful for me to have to play 2 or 3 difficulty settings below the highest available this early in the campaign, knowing of course that the game only gets harder as you advance. If I'm only able to earn loot that's 2 steps below the best available now, where will I be when all 15 world tiers are available? Is it even worth it to keep playing for lackluster loot drops? I guess that's ultimately for you to decide, but that's gonna be a no from me, dog. A couple more things will round out my list of complaints about this game. Firstly, the size of the skill tree is daunting. I guess it makes sense since the campaign is said to be around 25 or 30 hours, but looking at it makes me think that I'll never achieve any type of satisfactory skills to give me a solid in-game return on my investment. Secondly, and this is a big one, I can't for the life of me figure out if there's actually a way to pause this game or not. Sure, I can call up the inventory screen, but that doesn't seem to actually remove me from the action. That's maybe the biggest turnoff in a game for me. I don't live alone, and I have a dog. Sometimes things happen that will pull me away from the screen while I'm gaming, and if I can't pause and I die as a result and have to start a whole section of the game over again, that's enough for me to turn it off when I finally return to the screen and maybe not ever come back. If I'm completely missing something and there actually is a true pause function, please drop a comment below, but I couldn't figure it out. I will say that I hate ripping on a game this hard. As I mentioned before, I don't think it's the game's fault. This actually isn't a bad looter shooter at all. There's plenty of great missions, the story isn't bad, and the combat can be fun when you're playing with a group, or if you have a lot of time to sink into the game. With that said, Outriders proves that looter shooters may not be made for people that don't have tons of time to dedicate to grinding for equipment and climbing the skills ladder. So stay away from this one, people, because Outriders is time not well spent.